Hi everyone, welcome to Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I'm Tim Derling. Thank you for watching. On this episode, I'm going to talk about a release that's been out for a few weeks now. It's the latest Metallica album, their second album with the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra, S&M 2. This is released on their own Blackened label, and this is a follow-up to S&M, which came out in 1999. And of course, that one came out on Elektra Records. Polygram Records worldwide. And I am really impressed with this. The first S&M, of course, I bought it when it came out, listened to it, and I wasn't blown over by it. It wasn't something that made a lot of return listens. So I'm really surprised at how much I'm enjoying this one. I think the band's in much better shape mentally, physically, and that's nothing against Jason Newsted. I think Jason was, did a lot of great things for Metallica. I just think overall the band, as we saw in Some Kind of Monster, they really weren't in very good shape at this point. And this was, it was a year or so before everything sort of, the wheels came off, Jason left, the Napster thing happened, James Hetfield went into rehab. But so the original S&M was kind of, it came out, I bought it, but it was never something that had repeat listens for me, for whatever reason. In and of itself, there's nothing wrong with it. But this one, I think, it's just an improvement overall for a lot of reasons. There's just more life to it. I'll just show you the back cover here. Get an idea of the set list. Now, comparing it to the first album is kind of easy because I believe that there's 8 or 9 songs that repeat. I'm a little surprised by how many songs they reprised from the first one. I thought that they would have, being Metallica, I thought they would have done a completely different set list. Maybe 1 or 2, Enter Sandman, From the Bell Tolls. Maybe they'd keep some of the staples, but there's a lot of repetition. That's the inner part there. 2 CDs and DVD. Of course, it came out on vinyl as well. I couldn't justify spending the money that that new vinyl costs for a record set, considering I never opened my new vinyl, so that's why I ordered this. I also would like to mention that I ordered this directly from Metallica.com, and I got it 2 days before it hit the stores. That doesn't happen when you pre-order from Amazon or anything like that. And if you pre-order, if you're putting the money up front for something, you should get it before the record stores get it, before other people that go to get it in the store get it. So I was happy with that. Here's the inner booklet. Photography by Anton Corbin, longtime Metallica photographer. This, of course, the first time around, the late Michael Kamen was the conductor, and he's no longer with us. So this time around, it was Edwin Outwater and Michael Tilson Thomas were the conductors for this. And, there's some cool pictures from the show. This would have been a cool show to be at. It was filmed at the Chase Center, which is a relatively new venue. Basketball fans will tell you that's where the Oakland Warriors play now. And if I'm looking this up correctly, they either played there on opening night that the place was open to the public or 2 nights after. I'm not really sure. I think this is a combination. So even though that there's a lot of repeated material on here, it's still a pretty good cross-section of their albums. I love the fact that they did 3 songs from Hardwired to Self-Destruct. There's Confusion, Moth into Flame, and Halo of Fire. They touch on Death Magnetic. So it opens, as all Metallica shows do, with Ennio Morricone's The Ecstasy of Gold. And to be honest with you, I don't think before the first S&M album I knew what that piece was called. It was just a piece of music that played before every Metallica show over the PA. Of course, this, with the symphony, they actually perform it. So then they did something really cool. They went into the Call of Cthulhu, which is an instrumental from Ride the Lightning. It's so cool the way that they do it. Now here's one of my, if I were an executive producer or a creative consultant on this, this is one of the things that I would have done. I remember on the first album thinking that Call of Cthulhu sounded good. It's a shame they didn't do Orion, which is the other Metallica instrumental from the 80s, from Master of Puppets. That would blend itself perfectly. It's got a waltz section in it. And when I heard that there was a Volume 2 coming out, I thought, oh, maybe they'll do Orion. They do Cthulhu again. So maybe number 3. I think Orion would sound awesome. However, there is an instrumental piece on here that just blew me away. It was so cool. One of the orchestra members, violinist by the name of Scott Pingle, comes up on stage and does his tribute to Cliff Burton's, well, tribute to Cliff Burton, but faithfully on his whatever bass instrument he's got, completely masters doing Anesthesia Pulling Teeth from Kill 'Em All. It was so cool to watch. I mean, that's a spoiler, but you still got to see it. It's really, really cool, really heartfelt. And in case you're wondering, yes, halfway through, at the right time, Lars comes up on stage and starts playing drums, just like on the original. And it's the only thing from Kill 'Em All that appears on either of the S&M albums, because a lot of that material just does not lend itself to the orchestral treatment like some of the other stuff does. But the band sounds good. Hetfield sounds amazing. His voice is holding up very, very well. Watching the DVD is fun. The crowd is so into it. Singing the instrumental parts even, not just singing along with the vocal parts, but singing the instrumental parts. And they credit everybody on here. Wayne Isham directed, of course, longtime director for Metallica. There's another shot. You're part of it here. It's, and there is some quote-unquote new material on here. There is a section where the orchestra performs a couple of pieces, the Scythian Suite or Scythian Suite, and then Metallica comes out and the two of them do a piece called The Iron Foundry. And don't ask me to name the conductor. Even if I read the name, I probably couldn't pronounce it right. But the DVD's obviously got the concert, the behind the scenes making of the show, and the promo for a curious choice of first single, but one of the highlights of the album. They took a song from the much maligned Saint Anger, All Within My Hands, and turned it into a really cool acoustic rock song. That's why it's the first single. I really like what they did with it, and makes me wonder if there's other, you know, melodies on that album that could have been unearthed and made into something more. So definitely, if you're a Metallica fan, it's not just another symphony album. It's worth picking up, adding to your collection. So there you go. That's my review of Metallica S&M 2. Thanks for watching Tim's Vinyl Confessions.